Okay, welcome everyone. We'll start our third lesson, lesson 3. In this lesson, we'll go through our learning outcome 3. Learning outcome 3 is about understand property offenses. So today lesson we'll go through property offenses. Before starting this lesson, we'll a bit recap what we learned during our last two lessons. So anyone please, anything you remember what we learned during our lesson 2?
Yeah, criminal punishment, role of prosecution, or
Okay, yes.
prosecution, and types of crime.
Yes, types of crimes, good.
I forgot a name was felony, or it's a technical term. You know that the punishment is more than 1 year.
Oh yes,
And
so is a felony we learn. And we learn about voluntary, involuntary manslaughter, yes.
yeah,
Non-fatal offenses against the person. Component of murders, yes, which we learn about, yes. Intentions, and we discuss, we discuss various case laws, and we discuss about evidence and bundle of evidence as well. Yes, criminal law is a crucial to be well aware of the bundle of evidence. So today lesson will be focused on our LO3 learning outcome 3, understand property offenses, explain the component of the property offenses, then lack of honesty and S21 1968 and the dishonesty under the common law. We'll go through those and compare and contrast the robbery with the burglary and evaluate the meaning of condition intent. So what is all about, and all this we'll go through today lesson. So we'll start. Welcome everyone. So hope so you can see window. Yes, can you see?
yeah, I can see.
Okay, brilliant. So now next, we'll in this we will explain the component of property offenses, and we'll go through S21, which is a section under the act, and dishonesty under the common law, and compare and contrast the robbery with the burglary. The all will be focused to the lesson. Explain the component of offense. So law of theft, one off under the properties. The offense of the theft is set out under S1, subsection 1, Theft Act 1968. It provides that the person is guilty of theft if they dishonest, appropriate property belonging to another with the intention to be permanently deprive the others of it.
Okay.
Any question there? We can look around accuse, reuse of theft, which is mean appropriation for the to take the place. There is no requirement. All the rights and honor are assumed. One right is sufficient. This is one of the case law, yes, between R and Morris back in 1983, and it's good to be we can look around this case. The case went to the House of Lords. Junction of the appeal both involved the switching the price of the label in the supermarket. Yes, Morris was arrested after paying a lower sum of an item. One side was arrested before paying for the goods. The question for the Lord to decide was whether the proportion required the exemption of all rights to be an honor. Also, if there was an appropriation, at what point in time did this occur? Yes. So we need to look around, like a price tag, you change it.
Yes.
So we can look around held. Of course, they need bundle of evidence to charge someone. There need not to be appropriation of the full right of an owner took place when there was adverse interference with us operations of the rights of the owner, which we need to look around the point of switching the label and at the point of taking the goods from shelf. So those we need to look around the points. The law, if one postulates an honest customer taking goods from from a shelf to put in her own trolley to take the checkout there to pay the proper price. I'm unable to see that any of these actions involve an exemption of the shopper have a right of the supermarkets. The concept of appropriation is my views involve not an act expressly or impliedly authorized by the owner, but an act the way of adversely interference of these rights. Whose right is to change the tag? Is it
Okay.
the owner, not the
Yeah.
customer? So there is a view. So that case
Okay.
was held and that's been charged. So this
Okay.
is one of the rule. It's a rule of theft.
Yes.
So we're looking at the law of theft under section 1. Okay. We have this is one of the further is the properties. So property include the money or all other. I'm not sure you heard about or learn about the Crime Proceed Act 1968. Yes.
No.
So we need crime proceed. The criminal property if you're holding, you can be charged as a crime as well. So like you buy the stolen things from the supermarket, these were stolen, yeah, and you're buying, and then of course if the police caught you, that's and they can charge you on these, because you are holding the criminal properties.
Okay.
So that can be sometimes that's why it's not good to be buy from the people selling in street. Maybe someone stop you and say buy this laptop or that laptop. Will give you
Yeah.
cheaper because that's maybe stolen, and you're
Yeah.
buying a maybe tracker and something even not tracker still is. We need to look around these. So property include the money and all the properties real or the personal, including the things in action or other intangible. So we know intangible. What is meant by intangible?
It's like I said, intangible, which is uh, life is less than 1 year.
No,
Liquid assets like
intangible have a physical substance like a house, like a property, like computer, laptops. These are tangible. Intangible is your copyrights, goods. Yes, you can say it's mine. Actually, it's not yours.
Yes.
So that's we can look around these. So we can look around this K law versus 1989, R versus Smith as well. Yes. So
Yes.
applicant was the company director. He took the money from the company safe and claimed that he intend to return it after the weekend. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So held convictions was upheld unless the intent to pay back the exact note and the coin are he held the intention of permanently deprive the company of the money taken.
Okay.
So R versus Smith in the Court of Appeal, Smith argued to meet this to the Jordan in order to buy some hidden from him, yes, like a drugs, yes. With the
Okay.
Jordan arrived at the point of meeting, and the other applicants, Plumber and Haynes, emerged from the alleyway where they and had been hiding, attacked
Okay.
Jordan, and the plumber put the knife to his throat and punched him on the ground. Yes, that's all offenses. Once Jordan was grounded, all three kicked him and demanded this, yes, urine.
Yeah.
And the Jordan handed over this and they run away. They run off. And three
Okay.
applicants are the convicted of robberies and appealed against the ground that the drug did not constitute the property for the purpose of the Theft Act, since the possession of it was unlawful. Does
Okay.
it make sense? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Appeal dismissed and conviction were upheld in the Court of Appeal. Define the properties included the tangible property, yes,
Yes.
because this is the tangible. While some exceptions are set out, the act such as the real property and wild animal, an exception did not intend to the property of unlawful possession. So that
Okay.
we need to look around, like Crime Proceed Act is all about as well, yes.
Yes.
So this is Crime Proceed Act 1980, yes.
Okay.
So this is all about us. So three instance when the person is not to be regarded as a dishonest if they appropriate the property is the belief that he is in the law the right to be deprived and of others and the behalf of himself or the third person. If they
Yes.
appropriate the property in the belief that he would have others consent if other knew that the appropriation and the other circumstances appropriate properties in the belief that the person to whom the property belongs cannot discovered by the reasonable step. The three
Okay.
exceptions judge entirely subjective. There is no requirement that the defendant believe is reasonable held the case versus in that case. So like here, quick fit. The applicant worked in the quick fit. He took some used tires and was convicted of theft. Used tire, yes. He
Yes.
appealed and contended that it was not dishonest since other workers did the same and he believed that he was allowed to do same. However, his contract of employment contained the clause forbidden taking the use of items,
Yeah.
and held so conviction was quashed by the Court of Appeal and the question of dishonesty under the exception to 1 the Theft Act 1968 judge entirely subjective. It is defendant belief alone the count not what he was actually permitted or the forbidden from doing. Is
Yes.
logical make sense? Yes, that's been quashed
Okay.
because that wasn't correct. Okay, so then we have there are good few case laws we can look around. Of course, here intention to permanently deprive. Yes,
Yes.
under the ethics, which is a Section 6 Theft Act, the Crime Proceed Act as well. A person is treated as a having the necessary intention if the treated the property as their own, regardless of the owner rights. Yes.
Yes.
Go with the situation where the defendant intend to return the property to its owner. Yes.
Yeah.
Stealing to store gift and vouchers. So we
Okay.
need to look around. Like dishonesty is no three definition of dishonesty. Although the Theft Act gives three instances when the person is not to be regarded as dishonest. If he appropriates the property in the belief that he has in the law right to be deprived others of it, behalf of him or third person, appropriate property is a belief that he would have other consent and other knew the appropriation and the circumstances of it, and if he appropriate the property in the belief the person to whom the property belongs cannot discovered by taking reasonable steps. These are the exceptionally judged, entirely subjective. There is a no requirement to defend the belief or reasonable held.
Okay.
So that was the one of the case, yes, or we were this Holden, yes, crime, the Court of Appeal, yes.
Yeah.
Thus we discuss, which is already, yes, which is quite
Yeah.
similar. Any question there?
No. No.
Okay, these are all, that about theft. And then we have next now, we need to look around the lack of honesty under the S22, S section 2(1) under this, the Theft Act,
Dishonesty.
by dishonesty under the common
Common
law.
law.
So as to Theft Act state that the person may be dishonest, standing a willingness to pay. Yes. This
Yes.
is perhaps a little unhelpful in determine the honest since it does not state whether the person will be honest are not but may, the question of dishonesty must be left for the jury to decide. That the
Yeah.
applicant of the manager is betting shop. He borrowed £30 for the till and maintained that the intent to replace it within few days. The trial judge held and that his actions were clearly dishonest and
To
his
the jury.
intention to replace the money was irrelevant.
Okay.
And the convention in that case was quashed, and the trial judge should have put the issue of dishonesty to the jury. Yeah?
Okay.
Any questions?
No. No.
Dishonesty under the common law. In the situation not covered under the F2, where the defendant claimed that he not dishonest,
Okay.
so we need to apply some test.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is again there are good few case laws, so please go through these.
Yeah.
Any question there?
No. No.
Okay, third we have a comparison robbery with the burglary. Robbery and burglary. So robbery under section S8, the Theft Act 1968, the person is guilty of the robbery. He steal and immediately before or the time of doing so, in order to do so, he use force on any person or put to or seek to put any person in a fear of being then they are subjected to force. In the criminal law, robbery is a form of aggravated theft. In these involve the offense that the theft plus force or the threat to force the person. The maximum sentence of the robbery is a life imprisonment
Life imprisonment. Okay.
because there is a power as well being used to theft. Steal, the elements of the actus is a robbery required. Yes, all the elements theft must be established. We need to evidence for it. Yes, being theft. So immediately before or at the time of stealing, the offense theft is complete as soon as the appropriation has been taken. The strict interpretation of the statute use the force to escape with the stolen property. Yes,
Okay.
would fall out the ambit of the offense. Like one of the thieves being even Haiti, the courts
Yeah.
have advised even in the past there was the intercourt of appeal. The defendant was owed money by a woman
Yeah.
and went to ask her for it, and fight developed between the defendant and the woman husband. During the fight, £5 note dropped out of the husband's pocket and the defendant picked it up and kept it. He was convicted of the robbery and appealed. Held. The
Okay.
conviction was quashed. There was no theft under S2 since the defendant has an honest belief that he was entitled to the money.
Okay.
So because that was his thinking is been found. The two defendants knocked the woman to the ground and grabbed her handbag, and she screamed and then held to be on the back. So they
Okay.
let to go the bag and run away empty-handed. There was a convicted the robbery and the field contending that they no time did they have sole control of the bag.
Okay.
So conviction held and appropriation had taken place with the relevant dishonest intent of the permanently depriver. So in that case, it was irrelevant that the left empty-handed or they never gained full control of the bag, since touching the property is sufficient to amount of the appropriation. Yes,
Okay.
so that's evidence. Any question there?
No.
So we can look around next now. Next is again a robbery. Yes,
Robbery.
and then the force are the threats to force. So
Yeah.
you give threats are the force. That's all come under. And then next we have a robbery. So there are all these are the case laws. R
Yeah.
versus Dyson and James on the back. So it's good to be, we can go through these all the case laws.
Yeah.
Any question there? All about these are the robbery case laws. Men re of robbery. In order to steal, defendant must have mens re. Theft is dishonest and intention permanently deprived. Yes.
Yeah.
So one defendant knocked a man so to make it easier, the other defendant to take his wallet from his pocket. The jury convicted both robberies and they have appealed contending that the knocking fell short of using force. Held
Okay.
in that case, so the conviction held and the word force is to be given ordinary meaning and required no direction to the jury. The jury were entitled to find the force had been used. So of
Okay.
course we need a bundle of evidence to be. Shopping bag of woman grabs, yes. He
Yeah.
did not physically touch the woman in himself, but it was held the force used. The bag was sufficient to be amount of the force on the person.
Okay.
Okay, then burglary. The offense of burglary is set out under S9, which is Theft Act 1968. There are
Yeah.
two offenses of burglary created S9, burglary under S91 and burglary under S91B. So a person
Okay.
committed burglary under S91 is entered a building, any part of the building as the trespasser. Do you know trespasser?
Yeah. Crossing the, that area, enter the building, or just cross personal property, someone's personal property.
You know, we learn under the contract law as well.
Yeah. Yeah. They say don't. Sometimes we see board, is no trespassing or something.
Yes, so it means you're not supposed to be crossing the private property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steal anything in the building, inflated GBS or any person in the building are doing unlawful damages.
Okay.
They all come under the Burglary Act. Burglary under F91, a person committed offense under the burglary if he is entered a trespass and he attempt to steal anything in the building and in fact an attempt to be so these are all come the condition under the steal anything in the building, inflate GB, yes, are
Yeah.
under the building are doing unlawful damage of the building.
Yeah.
That all come under the burglary offense. Any question there?
No.
When we look, the law is very tough on, but of
Yeah.
course still people doing crimes.
Oh
So
yeah.
we can look around the entry, we can look around the burglary under building or the part of the building. State inhabited vehicle or the vessels are included, even not inhabited at the time of offense. The
Yeah.
provision is considered in the following two cases, B versus F. So we can look around the cases. The lorry contain was the
Yeah.
resting on the sleeper and they used to be refrigerated to storage. Is connected to the
Okay.
electricity supply and had been the same. Like few months back, the lorries. I think so. Good 28 people were died.
Yeah, I remember.
Small is come under burglary and other laws can be under criminal as well. Under the immigration. Any question? As a trespass
Okay.
and men's way burglary. So trespass is the cover the who may have permission to be property but exceed the permission of doing something.
Yeah.
They are not invited to do so. They can be, and the defendant may know there are a trespass or reckless as whether they are trespassing.
Yeah.
So thus we need to look around. Aggravated burglary and the Theft Act 1975 as well. Under Section 10, person will be guilty aggravated burglary if they committed any burglary at the time of the burglary has within the fire alarm. The fire
Yeah.
alarm is running and the people coming and yes,
Yes.
choosing, taking out, or if is natural disaster happening. That's also it's been burglary act, which is further been changed in 1978. Any question there?
No, thank you.
The principal offense under the Fraud Act 2000. Fraud Act being updated, which is under the ethics, and we normally teach another subject area as well. So fraud
Yeah.
revealed following offensive: Theft Act 1968, yes, and the
Yes.
Theft Act 1978. All these being chained to under one act, like Equality Act 2010 is
Okay.
being Discrimination Act, Equal Pay Act, Sex and Discrimination Act. Yes, these all been merged under the Equality Act 2010.
Okay.
And the principle of offences under the Fraud Act is 2006. Any question there?
No.
Okay, then we can look at our offences. Section 1 create the general offences, the fraud, and introduce three ways of committing. It is the section 2, 3, and 4. Fraud by the false representation, fraud by the false disclosure of information,
Yes.
yes, and fraud by the abuse of the position.
Yes.
So that's come under the fraud. Any question there?
No.
In each case, defendant conducted must be dishonest. Defendant conduct must be dishonest. In his or her intention must be make a gain, and the cause a loss or the risk of the loss to another. No gain or the loss needed actually to have been made. The maximum sentence is a 10-year imprisonment.
Okay.
Any question?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, so that's all today lesson, and see you next week. So we learn about today theft and fraud, yes,
Yeah.
and that's about robbery and burglary. Yeah?
Okay.
So that's all today lesson, and we learn about Theft Act 1968 and 1978. Yes, being replaced to
So 1968, isn't it?
sorry,
1968 and
1968 and 1978.
78. Okay.
So that being changed to 2000, 2006.
Yeah.
So that was the Theft Act, and then now is called Proceed Act.
So it's a
Yes,
Fraud Act 2006 as well.
So now is become principle of offense under the Fraud Act. So all these acts being abolished to under one act, which is come under
Fraud Act 2006.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's all today lesson. So in the next lesson we'll go through LO3, LO4. If you have any question in the meanwhile, just drop me email. Thanks for listening and attending. So please, if you have any question, drop me email. And I hope speak you all during our next lesson. Thank you. Bye bye.